Hello everyone, and thank you for joining this week's webinar. What I'd like to go through with you today is just setting up a couple of features into the system to make your life a little bit easier on assigning staff to visits using runs, skills, rounds, staff working week, staff ratings. So to start with, what I'd like to do is just quickly show you exactly what we'll be going through. So as you can see, we'll be going through set up the skills, the training required to provide care, creating runs, routes, geographical locations, creating rounds, grouping of calls, setting up ratings, preferred staff members, staff working week for the staff availability, client gender preferences, and also bank holidays and special days. So to start with, what we will do is go through and show you what your template would look like after putting in the basic information and you've set up all of your calls. So as you can see here, we've got a couple of clients with all of their calls, and all the calls that you see on screen are currently uncovered. So what we will be looking to do today is going through the staff availability. So this screen is the before. So as you can see, we've not got no run set up. We haven't got any staff ratings, gender preference, skills match, or the working week. So what we're looking to do is set it up so the system will help your coordinating team choose the correct staff member for the client. And as you can see, run area 2, we've got some staff ratings, gender preference, skills match, and the working week putting through. So just to quickly show you on the system, if I go to your template, and I'm going to search week 2 very quickly, and what you'll be able to see is all the calls are uncovered, and when assigning a staff member, you can see that I've created some of the ratings. Now, what I'd like to do for this is show you how you can set this up and make life a little bit easier. So to start with, I'd like to explain about the run routes. Now, what this is, you may have seen this board before, it's quite common, but what we've got on here is a great example to explain how you can set up your areas around your office. So as you can see, we've got 8 areas created, and with this, it will just group your clients into areas where they live and staff where they prefer to work. So on creating this, when we go back to the system, all we need to do is go into the admin tab. Onto the left-hand side, you will see run room maintenance. And in here, you can see that I've already created 7 of the areas. So all I'm going to do is just create area 8. And save. Now, when you're going through setting this up, you've got a run order 2 to 7. Now, with this, what you're able to do is, if I just quickly show you on the PowerPoint, where we go down to a certain area, I'm sorry to skip most of these, but I'd like to show you one of the things that you've got. So, once we've got all your areas created, you've got a run order 2 to 7. Now, where area 1 is, you may not have a staff member able to go to a client in area 1. So when you've got your run order 2 to 7, going back to the runs, where we've got area 2, and you can see area 3, you would say, where area 2 is, if you didn't have a staff member available for a client in area 2, where would be the next closest area? So as we can see, area 1 and area 3 would be the next closest area. So when we get back onto the actual system, what we can say for area 2, area 1 or area 3 would be the next closest area. So you can set it up like this. So what the system will do is, if we haven't got a staff member available in area 2, it would search area 3 to start with, and then area 1 as an alternative. And you can follow this on to the next closest area. Once you set that up, that will just make your life a little bit easier, making sure that if a staff member isn't available, you've always got someone else to choose in the same area. So, the next part I'd like to go through is creating the skills. Now, with the skills, as you can see on the screen, this is all to do with moving and handling, first aid, food hygiene, dementia. So, with this, going back onto the system, to create these skills, on the right-hand side, you've got skills description. So, by going into here, what we've got is all your skills already created onto the system. So, all I'm going to do is create a new skill. Skill name. You have a duration and you have a skill expiry. So, we will save that into the system and close. So, because we've just created that skill, I need to assign some skills to my staff member. So, underneath we have assign skills to staff. And now, on here, what I'm going to do is choose a staff member who hasn't got any skills. So as you can see, I've gone through and created a few staff members that have different types of skills on the system, but my staff member H has no skills. So what we're able to do from this screen is we're able to assign the skills that this staff member has gone through the training for, and you're able to assign the skills. Now, if the staff member did the skill retrospectively, you're able to change the date to when they actually did the training for that type of skill. Once you've set this up for your staff members, what we would like to do is set this up for the clients. So what you're doing with setting it up for the clients is you're telling the system which staff member with what type of skill is best to go. So as you can see, client A would need a staff member that have got all these types of skills. Certain clients may not need skills, but certain clients will need a specific type of skill. So for this client here, I haven't created any skills, but what we can do is we can assign the skills in question that this client may need. So once you've gone through and you've set up all your skills for all of your staff and clients, we're able to close that down and move on to the next part. So the next part on setting up the system, we will be looking through the staff working week. So on here, what we're able to do is we can set your staff members that have maybe a weekend 1 off and a weekend 2 on, as you can see on the screen. What we would like to do is go through and get this set up. So if I go into the system, and I'm going to go to the staff tab and choose a staff member. So this staff member here, staff member O. And then on their details, what I'm going to do is go to staff extras that you see down the bottom left. This will bring up a new window. And on here, what I'm going to do is go through the staff working week. So on here, as you can see, this staff member does not have any working week set up. If some of your staff members don't have a dedicated time off, then you can either update this weekly or leave it blank. But for this staff member in question, I would like to set up their default working week for week 1 and week 2. So for this staff member, they work Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday for week 1. And what I can do is quickly put the time in along the top. So they may be available from 8 o'clock in the morning until 6 in the afternoon. So all I need to do is add work hours, and you'll see that these little white blocks will appear. Now this is showing you their working week availability. Some staff members may have to pick their kids up and take their kids to school. So for example, if I use this for week 2, a staff member may only work Monday to Friday, and what we can do with this is we can set the time on when they would be available. So a staff member may be available from 9:15 in the morning until 2:45. So when I add the work hours, if you know that this staff member is available to come back later on in the day, you can still keep the days selected and just add in the time that they'd be available from. So we could say that they may be available from 4 until 9 at night, add the work hours, and as you see below, we've got these little blocks in with a little gap in between, so you know that their availability is set like this, and this will pull through to the staff availability screen, showing you which staff members are free to make the call and which ones would be absent due to their working week. So the next part I'd like to go through is setting up the staff ratings. Now with this, I'd like to set it up for the staff member I've already selected, and on this window for the staff extras, I'm going to click onto the little 5-star. Now to explain this a little bit more in detail, I'm just going to bring up my PowerPoint and click onto the staff ratings. So as you can see here, we've got different selections that you can set up. So as you can see, top right hand corner, we've got excellent, good, average, poor, very poor, and do not match. So setting this up makes life a lot easier, and also as well, if you do have a staff and client that don't get along or do get along, this just helps your coordinating team. Now to go through and get this set up, all we would need to do is when we get back to the system and we go on to the ratings, I can set up that client B would be 5-star, client F would be 4, D would be 3, and continuing on to do not match. So once you've set this up, click save, and you'll see this on the availability screen. So one more thing I would like to go through before showing you the availability screen, I would also like to go through and set up the rounds. So very quickly, I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint, click on to rounds, and as you see on here, I took a little snippet of the little board that you saw to do with setting your run routes. We've got area 2 and area 3. Now with creating these rounds, you can use multiple calls from different areas to create a morning round 1, a lunch round 1, a tea round 1, and an evening round 1. So this is our example on what we would like to show you. You can set this up multiple ways, but this is a great example to set this up. So as you can see, for your rostering team, if they are struggling to cover every uncovered call that you've got on the task manager, creating your rounds is just another way you can separate your calls to make life a little bit easier. So to show you, going back onto the system, to create these rounds, all we do in the admin tab is go to the left hand side for run rounds. And in here, as you can see, I've already got a morning, a lunch, and an evening round. So the only round left to create would be the tea round. So what I'm going to do is create a little code to start with to say TR1, which would be tea round 1. And I'll also put the full name in. So once I've created that, we are now able to assign these to the visits. And then you get to see how all of this that we've set up will make the availability screen show you the best possible match for your client's call. So if I close this window down and go into the templates, what I'm going to do is just quickly search the week 2 and quickly show you something on the PowerPoint about the staff availability. So just to quickly run you through, as you can see on the screen, the bottom left window shows you all the calls that are covered, and I've got one selected that was visit uncovered. So the availability screen is just bringing me up all the best possible matches for this call. And on the next screen, if you can't find the staff member available, you have the option to click a button called Show All, as you can see where my mouse is. So by clicking Show All, it displays every staff member on the system. So the top right hand box, you can see that we've got multiple people showing up in area 2. And on the right, we've got your staff ratings. So all of these ratings will come together to show you the best possible match. Your gender preference is set up within the system, and I can show you that in just a second. You've also got your skills match. So as you can see, we've got some circles fully green, and we've got some that have got the red line through it. So that tells me that that staff member has no skills. So on the bottom box, if you are looking for a specific staff member, so I was looking for staff member F. Now looking at this, I can see staff member F is currently booked. But the ratings are good, the gender preference is good, the skills match, they've only got half the skills, or a quarter of the skills, but the reason why we can't assign the staff member is because they're clashing with the call at the bottom shown in red. So this may be something you would like to make adjustments to by shuffling the calls or making amendments to the times to fit the staff member in. But I wanted to quickly show you all your matches that you've got through the availability. Now, as I mentioned about the ratings or the gender preference, when we go back onto the system, what we do to set up a gender preference for a client is when we go to the Clients tab, we need to choose a client in question. So I will choose Client, see, to set the preference up, we go to System Settings, and then you've got your options for gender preference. So currently there's no preference set, so this male client may prefer a male carer, and we can set that up, and that's set up for that client. Now on here we've got your geographical location. So when we set up your run routes, we can allocate the run areas to your client from this screen. So as you can see, we've got all your areas created. This client was given area 4. So that is the area on where they live. For the staff member, if we go to the staff tab, choose the staff number, go to System Settings, and then we've got the geographical location in here. And this is currently set on Preferred Run Area 3. So because we've got all these different areas set up for the geographical location, you've got your run set, your rounds, your working week. When we go to the template and I search any of these visits, so I would like to cover a call, we can narrow it down to an area. So I'll search area 2, and currently we've got 5 clients shown on the template. Now if I search, it narrows it down just to 2 clients. And where we've got here, we've got morning and lunch visits. Now if you would like to assign a round to separate your morning and lunch visits, you can click onto the first morning call, hold the Control key down on your keyboard, and select all the morning calls you would like. So currently I've just done Monday to Wednesday. I can right click, go down to swap template round, and in here I would like to assign the morning round 1. Once you've done that, just click Save. And now what you're able to do, in area 2, I would like to search all of my morning calls. Because we've allocated the round, when I search, as you can see, it's only bringing up the Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday calls I selected for the morning round 1. So, as I mentioned before about creating multiple calls into a round, if we search area 3, we can see that we've only got 1 client in this area. But I would like to select their morning calls, right click, and I'm going to assign them to a round, morning round 1. So once I've allocated that round, if you wanted to search all of your morning calls that have been allocated around, you don't have to put an area in, because that will just bring it down to an area. I want to search every morning round 1 visits that I've selected for this round. And as you can see, it's brought up the 3 clients I've selected. So what you can do with this is optimize your visits by the rounds. And what you might find is staff might find this easier in the office that are doing the coordinating to create their own rounds so they can be dedicated to certain areas around your office. So once we set up the rounds, you'd like to go through the availability. So if I click onto Visit Uncovered, as you can see, I've only got 2 staff members available for this call. One of the staff members is area 2. If I pull this screen down ever so slightly, you'll see where my mouse is, we've got run, and this client is in area 2. So we can see staff member A would be best for the call because their rating is excellent. You've got the gender preference, you've got the skills, and if you'd like to see what type of skills are needed to take care of this client, double click onto the actual skill, and what it will do is it will bring up a little box to show you exactly all their skills. And it will be the same for the working week. Now, as you see on screen, you might be looking for a different staff member to cover the call. So, if we click Show All, this will display every staff member on the system with every type of rating or preference or skill that has been set up. So, a do not match, you can see here with the sad face with a red line through it. You don't want to assign that staff member, even if they have the full skills. The system will try and hide that staff member away because it's set as do not match. The gender preference, same again. We've got staff member E, which would be perfect for the call because they've got all the skills. But the problem we've got is the gender preference is a female. So we can't assign that staff member because the client prefers male carers. But scrolling through, you can see all of your different ratings set up on the system. Anyone that's set up for a working week that they're not available to cover this call. As you remember from staff member O, we set that their availability was from 9 until 6, or 9:15 till 2:45. So, if you was a bit unsure, click onto the little working week. It looks like the little calendar, and what this would do is it would show you the staff working week on what they are available to do. So, on here, we know we can't assign staff member O because they're not covered, they are not available to work. And as you can see, for the rest of the staff members, everyone is free, but everything that we set up today will always populate on the very front screen your best possible matches for the call. So I'm going to assign staff member A and save, because that is the best staff member I can see that I've set up for the call. So one of the other things I'd like to go through is setting up your bank holidays and special days. So for this, if I go into the admin tab, on the top left hand corner I've got working times and dates, and in here, as you can see, I've got some bank holidays and special days already created in the system. So bank holidays, what we would say, but it's depending on how you would charge. If you charge the bank holiday rate, which may be time and a half, you can actually set it up as a bank holiday rate. Or you can create special days, which may be Christmas Day, Boxing Day and New Year. And we would set that up as a special day. Now the reason why we would have two options for the holiday type, when we go through the services to create your rates, so I'm going into invoice group and services, click yes. I'm going to go to the private client invoice group, click services at the top. And as you can see here, I've already created up the beds call, bank holiday, and the special day rate. But for the evening call, I've only got the normal day. So what we would do to create the bank holiday and special day rates, I'll click Add Charge. On here, where it applies to, I will change that to a bank holiday. And then your bank holiday rates may be £7.50. 15, 20 and 25. Once we set that up, click Save, and then you can add another charge for your special days. Now your special days, this may be for Christmas Day, Boxing Day and New Year, and you may charge double. So instead of creating it time and a half, we would set this up as 10, 20, 30, 40 and click Save. And that's how easy it is to create charges for the bank holiday and special days for your clients. Now to set this up for your staff members, all we would do is once we've saved everything from the invoice group and close that window, go to the staff pay tab. And on here, what we've got is a list of all your staff members on the system. Staff member A has only got a normal day created of £8. If I go to staff member B, we can see that this staff member has got the bank holiday and the special day rate typed in. So, nice and easy to create this choose the staff member in question, add pay rate for staff member down the bottom, and on here we can change that from the normal day to bank holiday. That may be £12, and create another rate for the staff member. Change the apply during to special day, and this may be £16. So as you can see there, I've set up the bank holiday and special day rates for staff member A, and you are able to copy this from one staff member to another. Once you've got that set up, and you've set all your bank holidays, when we go to the task manager, I would like to show you what the bank holidays and special days would look like on the system. So when I search the 27th of August and the 28th, bank holidays in the date column will always show in green. So that's for bank holidays and special days. And you will notice that your charge pulls through accordingly to what the visit should be. So that is a nice little run through of setting up extra things on the system for the runs, the skills, the ratings, the working week, the gender preference, even the bank holidays. And from here now, when we go through covering these calls, it will just make life a little bit easier for your coordinating team to assign the correct staff member for the visit, and you can get your timesheets printed out, exported or emailed. So that is everything on the intermediate webinar. We will be doing another webinar next Wednesday, which would be the advanced webinar, going through more in detail about setting up extra things on the system. Thank you ever so much for joining this webinar. If you have any feedback or questions, or even what you would like to see on the next webinar, then feel free to contact me on our contact details on the very last page. As you know, our telephone number and support email at the bottom. So please do let us know what you think, and I'll speak to you very soon. Many thanks for joining. Take care. Bye.